Welcome back to another video here in DFD Mastery. Just a little over 12 months ago, I interviewed Nick Rowels, who was one of my first success stories that I had on this YouTube channel. If you haven't checked that out, see how Nick, you can go to this link. It's going to pop up right here somewhere, and you can see Nick and how he was going from a struggling real estate investor, not able to get his first deals after investing thousands of dollars into a coaching program, and how he was able to do his very first two deals and make over $50,000 profit in his pocket, and how that was life changing. So you guys can go check that out. But it's been over 12 months since I did that interview, and I wanted to get Nick, put him on a call, and hear about his business and where he's at now. And so you guys can get a lot of gold nuggets and see how much you can do and how much money you can make and the kind of success that you can make in just a year of real estate investing, and more specifically, real estate wholesaling. So grab a pen and paper. I hope you guys enjoy this content. Let's dive right in. My name is Zack Boothe, and I help people understand how to find discounted properties consistently, to buy rentals, fix and flip opportunities, and wholesale. If you're trying to find more discounted properties, check out my free webinar. Go ahead and click on the link below. I'll see you there. I'm super excited to help you start finding massively discounted properties. Well, welcome. I'm excited to do this interview again. Nick, you are a great friend of mine at this point, not just a student, and a ton of respect for you. I know we have a lot of the same interests as far as like, we love helping other people. I see you constantly posting on, the Facebook group just for students. I see you posting on like different Facebook groups that are out there, just helping people because you want to. So beyond just being an amazing person and helping other people, like let's dive what you've got going on, and what's different in your life now compared to what it was before. Because I think a lot of people, like, that's what they want to know. Like, sure, you might be making more money, but is your life better? So let's kind of dive into that stuff.
Man.
So that's a lot to go over, but let's just start with the first thing. Like, 12 months ago, you did your first two deals. Let's start the journey from there. What happened from there?
Yeah. So tons of learning from there still. So like, one of the biggest things that I learned from that time is to not let off the gas. So, we learn, we make money, we learn, and then we just keep adapting. So what happened was, made that huge chunk of money, kind of let my foot off the gas a little bit.
You're like, oh, I'm loaded. I don't need money.
No, dude.
I just made more than the average income.
Well, the one deal I did last year was just as much money as my salary in my previous job.
Wow. So how much is that? So you did one deal that was your entire salary before. How much was it?
It was 24.8 thousand or something like that. It was around there. That's some change. And so I was making 24,000 at my previous job before I jumped into wholesaling. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just did one deal and doubled two deals and doubled my salary basically.
Right.
And so I was like,
you're like, I'm high rolling. I'm sleeping in. What do the kids say these days? I'm just chilling now, right?
I'm just chilling now. So man, so it didn't change. Like, my marketing didn't change. My marketing was still going out every week, but I was like way more lax. And so actually my deal flow shot down like for probably 2 months. And then I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? I've got $10,000 out in marketing and nothing in the pipeline.
Right.
So those are the moments where you fail and you learn so much.
Yep.
So much. So huge learning moments. Huge learning moments. And so I brought
how did you overcome that? How did you made all this money, you let off the gas, you got a little complacent, but then all of a sudden you realize you're spending all this money on marketing, and wait a minute, I don't have deals. This might get scary, right?
Yeah.
I still need to provide for my family. It's kind of like the people that win the lottery.
Yeah.
Right. And then they go bankrupt in a few years because they just, life's good. I don't have to learn what to do with the money. I don't have to grow and like continue to, add value in any place in my life. So what'd you do? Like, how did you overcome that? How did you not just give up and go back to a job?
Oh, dude. So I was like, talking to some other people, and somebody was like, dude, you got to read Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I can never say his last name right.
Yeah.
But So I actually don't think I ever bought the book, but I did tons of YouTube video reviews on it. Talked to some people, got the premise of it. I think I joined an actual profit first group. And so I learned all the principles, applied them immediately. It's basically like anytime you do a deal, you take your profit off the top and then you make money for expenses.
Yes.
So whatever money you have for expenses, that's what you get to use for expenses. So you don't get to go in the hole ever.
Yeah.
And so just like applying these new principles, bam.
It's on the
There it
bookshelf
is.
behind me. It's one that needs to be
Wow.
in your guys' library for sure.
Wow.
I knew it was in here. I was just like, look, I was like, where is it? I know it's in here.
I love it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So that
Awesome.
book was life changing. The principles in it, just to apply them and like start saying, okay, now I need to actually prepare for these downturns. And then I need to point, I like to point thumbs before I, point fingers. Okay, what did I do? What can I do better? So one, I quickly hired out acquisition stuff, which I shouldn't have. I wasn't ready to take on an acquisitions person at that time. And so hired him out, again, kind of taking a step back. I'm like, okay, I want to kind of step out. I've got cash flow, I've got cash space, whatever. This guy's going to be eager to do, deal after deal after deal. And so it didn't work for those 2 months, like I said. So
you had a couple rough 2 months. You hired an acquisition, do appointments. That didn't work out well. How many months did you go without doing another deal?
3.
3 months. So that's a very long, painful 3 months because boom, right out the gates, you make 50 grand from doing what I taught you to do. And then all of a sudden you're having a hard time repeating it, right? Because you lost focus of what really got you those deals in the first place.
Exactly.
Right. So you corrected that mistake. And then you did another deal, I assume, at the end of that 3 months. How much did you make on that deal?
On the next deal, oh man, trying to remember. I'm pretty sure
there's been so many at this point, right? Isn't that so cool? We're making tens of thousands of dollars per deal. We're like, that deal, was that 20? Was that 40? Was that right? We're like, oh, people are listening to this going, man, what a greedy pig. He has no idea how much he's making, right?
I'm so sorry.
I'm just teasing you. That's awesome. That's just so cool because like most people, if they made $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, like they'd be like, they would be engraved in their brain, just like our first deals are. My first deal was 10 grand. Your first deal, you know exactly how much it was because it was such a like this mind-blowing experience, right?
Yes.
But so it's actually a funny thing that you don't know the numbers, like all the numbers start to kind of get, it's just another deal. It's just another deal. And so, but before, it's like, wow, this is as much as I made on my salary in a whole year. Now that's just a normal thing for you, right? Which is just so crazy, going from, what were you doing before? You were doing a nonprofit business, right?
Yeah, I worked at a university,
okay, that's
a private Christian university up in Indiana, and then I did some nonprofit work before that. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So awesome. So you do this deal. It was probably a lot of money. We don't remember the exact amount.
I think it was 11 grand. I think we picked it up. So I think this one, the homeowner wanted 100. We put an offer in at 22 and he accepted. So,
love it.
So it was kind of out of nowhere. We were like, I don't know what to do anymore. Give him an offer for 22,000. There's no comps. There's no anything.
Right.
And so we did. And he was like, sure, that sounds good.
Cool. So you got this deal, and then did you start ramping up and doing more and more deals every single month? Did you got your focus back in the right place, or was it still a little rocky?
It went in waves, I guess, kind of like, up and down, up and down.
Yep.
We ended the year at 138,000 in wholesaling fees.
Pretty darn good. Do you have roughly how much you spent on marketing?
I spent, let's see, in the beginning, I did a lot of testing before I came on with you.
Yeah.
So spending a lot. I spent like 12 grand on Facebook ads in the beginning of the year. That was like, I never did a single deal from them. Now that Facebook ads are bad, and I know a lot of people that do really well on Facebook ads, but they just didn't work for me, I guess. So we were at about 80,000 in total expenses for the year.
I've spent 30 grand on online Facebook ads and PPC, and I've never done a deal. Never even got a lead.
Doesn't that
Never
feel
got a lead.
so like,
It's so painful. It's like,
oh,
driving for dollars. I spent like $1,000 and did a $20,000 deal, $30,000 deal. It's like, let's stick with that. Let's just stay. Let's stay with that. Right? I don't even have a website. I made over $1 million last year. I don't even have a website. I shut my website down because they were charging me. I was like, it wasn't making me money. It was charging me like $150 to keep it. And I was like, get rid of it. Right.
Get rid of that thing. That's like not producing me any money. I know, dude. It's so funny when I'm talking to people like on Facebook forums and stuff. They're like, dude, I need to make an LLC. I'm like, okay, how many deals have you done? Oh, none, but I need to make an LLC, and then I need to order business cards, and then I need a business name, and then I need t-shirts. I'm like, please, no, please stop.
Please. Right. Yeah. I just did a video where I went and started a mobile pawn shop just to show that you don't have to have anything to start other than just going and find something that's motivated to sell. Right. And it's the same thing with a wholesaling business. You're just finding someone that's motivated to sell a house, not necessarily motivated to sell junk. Right. And it's funny because like in the comments, someone said, well, I would have gotten shirts and a hat and stuff to create a little bit more trust at the door. And it's like, well, that's the point of the whole entire video is don't do that. Get money first. And then you can do those cool things to create rapport. It's so funny, right? Because like, man, you guys don't get it. Like you don't need that stuff. I still don't have a logo. I still don't have a brand. I still don't have shirts for my business because it doesn't generate leads. It doesn't generate revenue. What builds trust and relationships with sellers is talking to them, is meeting with them, is building listening to their problems, listening to their pain points, right? That builds relationships and rapport, not a cool hat, right? Doesn't do it. Doesn't do it.
About that. If you walk up with a cool hat, yet you ignore their problems completely and don't care about them as a human, they're not going to do business with you. Doesn't matter if you got the coolest jumpsuit in the world. It doesn't matter.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the most attractive dude in the world and I'm doing deals. Like it's not off your looks. It's not off your brand. Like that's not what makes the business. So, so you started having some roller coaster rides. I know off air we've talked, you have a couple acquisition managers, you have a team. It's allowed you to get on these Facebook groups and start reaching out and helping people. And I hear about this, from students that come on and like, dude, Nick's helped me out so much. Like, I think it's such a beautiful thing. So, let's talk about that briefly. What was that shift to be able to get it to that point? What had to be in place first for you to be able to start building that team?
Well, consistency in pretty much every area.
Can you give specifics though? Like what was the consistency and what areas was required?
Consistency in talking to sellers every day.
What were you doing to be able to talk to sellers every day though? Because like, do you mean you like were getting on like for sale by owners on like Craigslist? Like, what do you mean you were talking to sellers every day? So what consists?
Literally just following up with people. That's something that I didn't do really well.
So like leads that you had already generated from driving for dollars. So you were following up with those sellers that weren't quite ready. That makes more sense.
Yes.
So constantly your follow-up wasn't consistent. So that had to get consistent.
Yep.
What other things need to change?
I needed more self-discipline in myself. So even outside of my real estate business, I knew that I needed to wake up every day at the same time, even if it was a weekend, and just have a normal scheduled morning routine to help build some self-discipline.
I texted you the other night and you're like, I'm in bed already. It was like 8:30 at night. It's like, geez, Nick. Yes. Making me look bad. Going to bed at like 1 a.m, waking up at like 7, 8. My schedule. It's like, geez, I need to get on board with what's Nick's doing.
Yeah, 8:30 every night and up at 4:30. 4:30.
Wow.
I'm not always 4:30, but I let myself hit my snooze once or twice, and then I'm usually up. Sometimes I get up.
What a stud, man! Awesome. So, what are you doing early in the mornings? Why are you waking up so early? What are you doing?
Well, personally, like I know I got to take care of my brain, like because it's a lot running a business. Like the whole thing, it's like really cool. The idea of making tens of thousands of dollars on a deal, running a team. It's like I've got 2 acquisitions managers. I got a full-time driver. I got a full-time texter. I've got all these people, but it's exhausting. Even if I'm not in the business as much anymore, there's still so much stuff to think about, like different marketing techniques, what's working, what's not. We're split testing things. So it's a lot. So the main thing is I'm really just creating space for myself from other people, and just making sure that I'm taking care of Nick. So what I do to make sure I take care of myself is I do my journal in the morning. I just it's got a little journal prompt question, and then I can journal whatever else I want underneath that. And then reading has become like so self-soothing for me, just to be able to learn and take in new things.
Ponder the problems you have and reading about the problems you have.
Yes.
Create clarity, right?
Oh my gosh.
Huge.
So good.
Yes.
So good.
So that's awesome. So your consistency now is you started doing follow-up, you started being disciplined with yourself, waking up early, like having a regimen through your day. What are some of the other changes that took place for you to create consistency? What other things were you doing?
Yeah. So I really wanted to make a team. Like I really wanted acquisitions people. I really wanted people out there talking to people.
You wanted to kind of replace yourself from the job, right?
Yes. And that's really, it's been very difficult for me to do in the whole journey. And I think that's because I wasn't ready to be the kind of boss or leader that I needed to be, because I wasn't, in the beginning, I was not super focused on my acquisitions manager's success. Like I just assumed like, oh, they're commissioned, they're going to work their butt off so that they can make money. And it's like, okay, Nick, that is, you're in la la land. That's not how it works.
Right.
It doesn't matter if somebody is commissioned or salary. That does not ever mean they're going to work harder. So I had to really, dig in and figure out systems and processes in like what happens when a lead comes in. Okay, what happens when we're cold calling? What happens when we're cold texting? Like, what are the processes and systems in place so that I can help my acquisitions people be as successful as possible? So I started creating videos and trainings and
beautiful
talking about, different personality types within the homeowners, mirroring, matching people's personality, all the kind of stuff that just helps you build rapport with people, and take that kind of to the next level with trust within the business.
Awesome.
So
what I'm hearing from you is you had to put in systems in place and write out those systems so that people understood, so your people understood what they needed to be doing, what they needed to be held accountable for. They had training. You spent more time on training, so you became more of a mentor to your team than necessarily like a commander of the team, right?
100%.
Which is true leadership, right? A leader serves and does more than the other people, right? He might not be doing the same tasks, but he's thinking at a deeper level. He's thinking the big picture, right? He's thinking 5,000 feet, not in the weeds. So I love it. So you did that. How long ago did you hire your first acquisition, or not your first, but your acquisition manager that was actually successful in building this team you have now?
So I actually kept on the one guy I hired.
Okay.
Immediately. But he's no longer with us now. He was with me starting for probably last year up until about 3 months ago. And so he and I had been talking the whole time, and he's like got a big passion for security stuff. He was in the Air Force, and so I was kind of like coaching him the whole time on how to get his own business up and going in the security side.
Cool.
And so he finally took the leap, and jumped into that. And so he is now an entrepreneur himself. So that's cool that, was able to be a part of his journey with that. So while we knew that was happening, I brought on 2 more acquisitions guys at the beginning of this year. And still a struggle for sure. Like, I'm still teaching them stuff all the time. And then I always have to remind myself that nobody is going to, be good at this job after 3 months.
Right.
It's like, as long as the desire is there and they're constantly wanting to get better, it's like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Because I just remember all the times that, I failed and I needed to talk to you on the phone and you had to give me advice. And it's like, I don't know how many times somebody gave me the same piece of advice before I actually applied it. So,
Right.
you know,
But it's a
just,
lot of times advice or team. It's like just like reading a book, and you get a ton of gold nuggets and you make some changes in your business and you read it 12 months later and you're like, holy shit, this is a whole new book.
yeah.
I remember these things and I did this, but like this wasn't in here before. This would have been nice if this was here the first time I read it, you know? And it's because the more we work on things, there's a part of our brain that filters information as this is relevant or this is not relevant to Zach's conscious mind. And so it's just like when we go to buy a car, you know, all of a sudden we start seeing that car everywhere on the street. You know, it's like that car has always been everywhere on the street, but now our subconscious is telling our conscious, there's the car because it's relevant
Yep.
to what you need right now.
Man.
And
So
so that's the cool thing about having mentors and books and always feeding your mind like you're doing like that. I think that is really one of the number one keys that I see to successful people. So let's wrap this up. Let's talk just real quick. I want to know, what's the size of your team? What's your team look like exactly? Who do you have?
Yep. So I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. Her name is Denise, and she does all of my marketing stuff. So
Okay.
all of my driving for dollars leads come in and go immediately through her, and she kind of cleans the list up, pulls any info we don't have. She looks up all the LLCs and replaces them with the the actual owners of the LLCs names. And then she goes ahead and skip traces them and uploads them into our system to be texted immediately. And then she does other, you know, admin tasks that I don't really want to do. And so she loves doing them, and I love her for it. And then I have a guy named Prince, who's also in the Philippines. He is my full-time texter. So all he does is text people every day. He gets on the phone, and he sets appointments for my acquisitions guys. And so then I have two acquisitions guys, Dave and Rick, and they both are older. They both have sales experience, which has actually been more difficult than I thought would be, because real estate sales and business to business sales are very, very, very different.
Right.
And so that has been, it's good that they know like the commission structure, and they know how to talk to people. And they have that grind and the grit sales stuff. Where I've had to really focus in on them is just like being with people, asking really personal questions, because when you're business to business, it's not personal. It's like, hey, I have this product. I think you might like it. Yep, I think we do. Yep, the price works.
What's
Let's
the
do
ROI?
business.
What's the numbers? What's the
Yes,
spreadsheets?
it's all brain stuff. It's not heart space. And so those two guys are crushing it. We do trainings every Thursday, which are huge. We go over any deals they're working on, anything they need help with. And then I am right now doing all of the disposition stuff. And so that's on my radar to start to delegate out in the next 3 to 6 months. And so after I delegate that out, I'll pretty much be completely hands off the business and only show up when I need to.
You throwing money in your pocket. So I know it's been expensive and costly to train because, you know, they're missing out on deals that you would have otherwise gotten, right?
For sure.
So building a team, you make less money. But if you don't mind, let's kind of break down numbers. Do you have how much you've made so far in 2020, now being very end of August? Do you have totals by chance?
That I do.
Cool. Kind of give you guys an idea. And then also what your projections and goals are, keeping the team and your marketing where you're at now. What kind of, you know, income are you expecting next year? And if you have your percentage of profits that you're shooting for.
Love it.
Hiring everything out, right? Just playing golf, hanging out with me, just doing all the fun stuff.
Going fishing.
Right? Yeah, I'm actually going there in January in Florida. So me and Nick are going fishing for sure.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna go. I actually have a couple students right in that market, so we're all gonna go fishing. We're gonna have fun.
Oh my gosh, let's go, baby! Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah,
that's gonna be so much fun. Love it. All right, so far, January through March, we did 0 deals. We're in a big transition period. So this is starting March to today. We have done $128,000.
Awesome.
In fees, and my whole goal with this year, my whole transition period was like, I have got to cut down on marketing costs. Like, I'm spending so much money on postcards. I'm spending so much money on testing all of these things. Like I just
Facebook ads.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my, I just need to stick to something, please. And so we're at 128,000 and our total expenses for the year is right at $20,000.
Wow. Which is pretty incredible.
It's
Pretty
that's a 10x-ish return. So I'm like,
wow.
That's where we need to be. I'm still, training these guys. And so they're still not at their full potential.
Right.
I'm thinking our last quarter is going to be our most profitable quarter. I won't be surprised if we do another 128,000 in the next 3 months.
Right. Well, because you put the team in place, you've got your marketing way more buttoned down. What is your expectation for the following 12 months? So 2021. What are you hoping to hit? Have you started thinking about that goal and that vision?
Yes, my goal for my acquisitions guys is for each of them to be doing $30,000 in wholesale fees a month by themselves. And so I want 2 people on, so that's 60,000 a month. I think that's very realistic. So that's going to be about $660,000 in the next 12 months. So that's what I'm hoping. We're starting to do flips, just easy ones that we can just pull down and throw right back on the MLS under that 5 to 10K rehab mark, just super easy ones. So we're starting to implement some of that stuff. So that's going to help our profit margin per deal. So I do think that's very realistic. That's where we're going. That's where we want to head. We've got a few deals in the pipeline that's, just waiting to close. We're probably at like $60,000 right now, just waiting to close on some stuff. So we've got some good things happening. We've got some good things moving, and tracking KPIs is just so good. So important.
Love it. So, yes, tracking your numbers is essential. You have to build a business around those numbers, like, how much you're spending to how much it's producing and exactly what input to produce what output, right? It's a very simple equation. My students get access to my KPI sheet, which is your numbers that you should be tracking and why you're tracking them. So, I'm going to end this. I'm going to wrap this up. This was such amazing content. I know a lot of you guys that are new to real estate wholesaling. This is great content to give you an idea and a perspective of what it takes to build a business. That it's not always an easy road. It's not always a slam dunk, but there's a lot of money to be made throughout the process. And plus, it's a very rewarding journey. We grow so much as individuals as we build these businesses. We have to improve ourselves to improve our business. And that's the most beautiful part of being an entrepreneur, in my opinion. So Nick, great content. Thank you so much for sharing, your story with us and where you're at. I'm sure there'll be people that are interested in reaching out to you and getting to know you and asking some more questions in regards to building your team. Are you okay with that?
Please reach out. Zack reached out to me when I first started, when I was struggling, and he really wanted me to be successful. And so it's ingrained in me now that I have to do that back to people. And so please reach out. I'm an open book. I don't hide anything. I'll tell you exactly what's working, what's not working. And I'll help you out specifically, because I know everybody's situation is a little bit unique and different. So please reach out.
Cool. Well, I love that. I know that Nick is helping people. I see his posts and see his comments. I saw him post on a wholesale group the other day. It's like free coaching, let the fun begin, or something like that, right? It's 50 comments. It was super funny. And then the Facebook group is like, hey, you can't do that. You can't help people for free. And it's like, what? So he got shut down, right? Which is so funny. It's like, what the heck's the point of those Facebook groups, But anyways, if you guys want to reach out to Nick and ask him any questions, what's the best way to reach you?
Facebook. Facebook. Nick Rowels. Yep. ROWLES.
Okay. I'll make sure we get a link to his Facebook so you can send him a message through Messenger, right?
Messenger.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Cool. Awesome. Well, also, if you guys are interested in getting started in your wholesaling business, you're struggling to find off-market wholesaling properties, make sure you check out my free webinar as well. That's in the show notes as well. Great stuff. That's how we got Nick started, and I want to help you guys get started as well if you're interested. So God bless you. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks again, Nick, for being here. We'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton and helps me reach out to more people that might be in need of content just like this. Thank you.